If Hotline Miami was pitched by the developers a beautiful Katamari to the gaping anus of Doshin the Giant, Lovely Planet would be the end result. No! And while that is an unpleasant image to behold, your mind hasn't been bent over and screwed 6 ways from Sunday. This partially translated Twitch shooter and platformer may look like a Japanese lol so random game that Thor High Heels likes so much, but to be quite honest, its style is far from abhorrent. As messy as your quest to get to Lovely Planet is, the nonsensical placement of randomly chosen assets helps in your quest to win the game. Sure, there's a step path from start to finish, but the environment is so unconventional that using your imagination will land you some world records. The game is incredibly popular among speedrunners because it caters to them extraordinarily well. Its levels are rather unstable, so you can exploit the terrain and use wall glitches to earn rankings amongst other enthusiasts. But let's say you're like me, and for that you have my sympathies. You just want a good action platformer. You want something a wee bit more challenging than Spyro the Dragon. No! I dare say that Lovely Planet is exactly what Neon Drive should have been, rewarding all aspects of the race without the obnoxiously wonderful level design. Because you see, getting to the end is only part of the battle, you have to kill all the baddies on the map too. It sounds easy, but each world has emphasis on a particular enemy. In the first one, it's simply about manoeuvring, but in the second world you gotta shoot the apples before they hit the ground. If you don't, the tangy juices spread so far and fast that you don't even get a chance to see the world being unmade, and your character melting to the power of your recommended 5 a day. In the third world, the enemies have homing bullets that you need to shoot and so on. Although the levels are rarely over 30 seconds long, you could be spending just under an hour trying to get perfection. Because being fast isn't enough. If you want 3 stars, you have to complete the level in under the developer's record and have 100% accuracy. I was put off at first by the gun, if I can even call it that, being semi-automatic, but given how satisfying it is to complete a level getting nothing but perfect shots, I fully appreciate the dev's creative decision. But let's go into detail about the gun. As you can probably tell, it's not a hit scan weapon, rather it fires a slow moving projectile, so you have to wait for it to travel to its destination before you can confirm your kill. So much of your success is down to the gun's velocity as well as that of your enemies. It's not safe to move back and forth because the enemy's bullets may still be in flight. It's a pain, but it's a fair challenge. You have the same tools as your enemy, so how are you going to use them more effectively? Even if you're not concerned with accuracy, you can't just spray and pray. It will work sometimes, but you'd be surprised how being patient and calculating the velocity of your projectile and the distance of your target can save you more time. You're not going to want to stick around to find out if you hit your target though, especially if those red blobs become animate and kill you by twitching your toes that may or may not exist. Fine,
that's enough of that. No?
Do you want to fight or what?
No!
Gun notifies you of a successful hit by squirting glitter everywhere, which is handy when you need to move faster than your bullets. And Guy Fawkes bottom the movement's good. It's so good. You're off like the clappers and as mad as arseholes, zipping around with so much control, and to think I wanted to play this platformer with a pad. Something else I noticed was how much control you have mid-jump, and being used to so many old school games, I've not gotten used to it. If you make liberal use of the mid-air fluency, you can save yourself a fair few deaths. The jump is a bit too floaty for my taste though, and few times was I required to make leaps as large as the game allows. I often had to just sit still in the air until I came down just to do basic platforming. This is the only time I challenged the run and gun lane. There's nothing fancy like wall running or double jumping, just fluid movement and shooting if we take into account the map design, with very few levels being similar to one another outside of the art style. It's surprising how fresh each level feels. My favourite levels are... oh wait, half of them haven't even been translated yet. Not to mention the ones that have make no goddamn sense. None of them really match their description, adding to the Dreamweaver-like craziness of the whole thing. But I know a few of them, like this one. This one is Help Help, I'm an accountant being held hostage in a video game development studio by madmen and I ate my colleague Nigel. Let's see, this one says if you're reading this and the world is truly doomed, for Lovely Planet has been unleashed and all shall fall to Stench. And then there's this one which roughly translates to Crash Bash is a good game. See? Total madness.
No!
Lovely Planet lulls its players into a false sense of security with its dreamlike design, with random objects placed without rhyme or reason. Its soft and flat colours, textures, and even its low polygon count are unnaturally soothing, which I guess is what you need in a game where concentration is key. I would really like to see my character's feet when judging some of these jumps though, just so I can be certain of where I'm landing. Perception is a big thing, and many shooters lack a sense of where you're going in terms of platforming. Hell, even third-person platformers cock this up more times than I care to know. But what's absolutely divine, perfect even, is the soundtrack. The songs provide a nice sense of tranquility even though they're incredibly upbeat and lively, and it never once detracts from your ability to beat the game. It's as though Callum Bowen made the soundtrack for me alone, or consumed copious amounts of Stuart Copeland's Toss. Either one I can believe. The sound effects suit the game for the most part, even if they are rather stock and short-lived. Once more, the escapism factor is boosted by the innocents out-of-place scream when they're attacked. Things like that do more for the oddity of the game than its weird look alone. Honestly, the best thing about the game is the soundtrack. I wholeheartedly recommend you check it out if you do nothing else with the game. There's not much else left to say about Lovely Planet. It's a madcap game that doesn't try to be quote-unquote dank, whatever the fuck the kids think that means nowadays. Unlike 90%, all meme games ever made, this at least provides some quality besides allowing some internet commentator to monetize its pitiful existence. And sure, it's meant to be streamed, but even if you're not into that, it's still a challenging single-player game that tests your reflexes and does so in a way that you want to, rather than make you feel like you have to. No matter how minimalistic the game looks, I'm in awe at how many obstacles it pushes my way, and the gradual learning curve is fair, even if at first it does seem like great leaps. I reckon a fair few genres could learn from the very basic design principles of Lovely Planet. It does platforming, shooting, map design, goals and progression well. And that soundtrack, if I could inject it directly into my bloodstream, I would. Now don't try that at home.
No!
Just listen to the rhythm of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose?
The lights are much brighter.